Hey, check it out, it's Jan, 1/3 of MediaShinobi, and I'm going to be reviewing episode 7 and 8 of Death Parade entitled Alcohol Poisoning and Death Rally. So to start off with episode 7, not much to say other than it's an exposition episode. You get to find out about the 3 rules that the Arbiters have to follow, which are: Arbiters cannot stop making judgments. They cannot experience death. They cannot experience emotions. We also get introduced to a new character called Quinn, who was actually a former Arbiter before Dequium assumed the role as such, and we also get to see the background between Dequium and Ginty because we didn't really know what the relationship was between each other. These two are pretty much polar opposites based on this episode alone, where Ginty only cared about doing his job and seeing these humans just screw around, while Dequium actually, respects anyone who lived a fulfilled life. As for Quinn, like I said, she was a former Arbiter, but now she actually moved on and transferred to the Information Bureau. And based on that alone, we actually find out that all of the memories of the people who have died, they get compressed and then stored in like an information system where they can then refer to those memories whenever they want. So it's kind of mechanical, it's very factory-like, which is pretty interesting because these are humans and we're being treated as if we were cattle. We also find out through a conversation between Nona and Quinn that Nona actually was going behind Oculus's back because she was implanting emotions onto Arbiters, and it seems that Dequium actually is an example in comparison to all of the other Arbiters that they've been hinting at thus far. He's definitely a lot more human, or at least the curiosity aspect of humans is inside of him because, the fact that he respects humans that live fulfilled lives. He's also paired up with Ona, who's a human herself. So the fact that Nona is keeping these two together while, new sets of characters come in, she's trying to find a new way of changing things up. And we also see that Dequium also sets himself apart from other Arbiters because he collects mannequins. And these mannequins, actually, we find out, are the temporary vessels that all of these souls possess while a game is taking place so that they could be judged. They revert back to a mannequin when they are placed either into reincarnation or the void. He collects all of that. And he, gives this explanation about how they shouldn't be forgotten, and therefore he keeps them and then does something with them. It's creepy, but it's kind of sweet, but still creepy. And unless I missed anything else, that was pretty much the gist of this episode, and there's not much to say other than it's an exposition episode, like I said earlier, and this is a 12-episode series, so it was bound to happen sooner or later because they had to explain a lot of stuff that was happening, and they kind of just shoved it all in one episode, so it was a little daunting, but for the most part, I still liked it, and I guess it's time to move on to episode 8. So with episode 8, we're finally getting back into the groove of the series because last episode, it kind of took a halt just to explain things and what's happening. But with this episode, we get introduced to 2 new sets of characters once again. Shimada, who happens to be just a young man in his early 20s, I'll say around 22, don't quote me on that. And another man, Tatsumi, who is in his mid-40s, and I believe he is a detective. The thing that differentiates these 2 characters from the other sets of characters that's been introduced thus far is that these 2 are actually murderers. The last couple of episodes, either it was accidents or depression or suicide, but now we're actually on the topic of murder. And I was definitely looking forward to this for the longest time simply because I wanted to see how Dequium and Ona would handle these type of people. Based off of this episode alone, it seems that these people are good, or at least their intentions, because if we look at both cases, Shimada, he was trying to serve as both parents for his little sister because their parents died at an early age and he kind of had to play grown-up. With his particular case, it seems that he murdered an individual who was stalking his sister for like a long time to the point where she then was physically assaulted. As for Tatsumi, he's a detective, so he usually has to separate his work life with his personal life. He had a loving wife who apparently was murdered while he was away. But the thing is, for both cases, are who are these individuals? And the episode obviously ends with a cliffhanger, which it's kind of similar to episode 1 and 2, where we're gonna get a 2-episode arc type story. But in this case, this is just gonna take 2 episodes, where the first 2 episodes actually just needed 1 episode, and the second episode just took that opportunity to explain episode 1 and how the series is going to work. So I definitely found both stories to be very interesting and compelling, and I definitely look forward to the next episode because, one, I want to see what Dequium and Ona decides where they should go. Should they go to reincarnation or the void? And more importantly, how they got there, because it's not always about the end, but how you get there. So I definitely look forward to that. And with the end of episode 8 and episode 9 incoming next week, I think now is an appropriate time to make predictions. I only have 2 really off the top of my head because I'm not trying to overthink things. But the first one is that Dequium embraces his human-like emotions, like Nona was trying to do. She's trying to see what will happen if arbiters had emotions and then judged people. That would be interesting, but I wonder how Oculus is going to take that. And the second prediction would be that Ona takes the position as arbiter, where Dequium either quits or something happens to him, I don't know. But that would be the first time a human would be an arbiter. So that pretty much wraps up my thoughts regarding episode 7, episode 8, and really the entire series thus far. I'm definitely enjoying it. I look forward to the next couple of episodes. So if you guys like the video, like it. If you guys dislike, it's completely cool. No hard feelings. Comment down in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are thinking about as of right now, and we're also open to constructive criticism as well. Consider subscribing. We try to pump out this kind of content as much as we can. We also have social media sites such as Tumblr, Facebook, Google+, if anyone really uses it. Check us out there. We have updates regarding our own stuff and other stuff that's happening around the world. And other than that, that pretty much ends this review. This is Jan, 1/3 of MediaShinobi, signing out, and I'll see you in the next video. Later.